on, you guys? Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're talking about the Suns and the Bucks. They're going into Game 6 tonight. We're also talking about LeBron James and how he feels about the GOAT debates. Now, before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRayTheFanatic. And Devin, I did not forget. It is
Taco Tuesday.
LeBron did that at one spoiler. No spoilers. No spoilers. I almost spoiled it. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, a Space Jam spoiler?
But I caught myself. I did it.
Good job.
I brought it back.
Good job. But now I kind of already know what it is anyway. You kind of gave it away, so it's been spoiled a little bit.
Not a big spoiler, so it's okay.
Well, I know I'm really excited to see Space Jam. I know in the post-up we have something funny coming up that Jackie's going to be telling you about LeBron and the kind of treatment that he needed during the movie. That's the biggest teaser I'll give. But I'm curious to hear what you think about that.
What's going to be funny is the way that men reacted. Because, I always look for the LeBron hate, because that's how I end up in Twitter jail. Well, 30% of the time. The other 70% is me responding to racist. But 30% of the time I end up in Twitter jail over LeBron James. So I was like looking for all the haters, like, let's go. Warm up the typing fingers. Let's get it, And no, men, the way men reacted to this is hilarious.
Okay, so that's interesting because I actually didn't look into any of the responses. I just watched the video, and I actually am going to have a video about this entire thing coming out later today, so you guys should check that out. But I'm trying to imagine, what are the responses? Are they going to be in support of LeBron? Are they going to be against LeBron? You never know when it comes to LeBron because he is so polarizing. But I don't want to get too into it. We're going to be getting into all of this LeBron stuff in the post-up. We're also talking about, like I said, how he feels about being part of the GOAT conversations. But before we do that, let's talk about the Suns versus Bucks, because they are going into Game 6 tonight. It's at, I think, 6 p.m. Pacific time, I think. Yeah. So right now the Suns are trailing the Bucks 3-2, and the series is back in Milwaukee. So they face elimination for the first time all postseason. In fact, it's just the second time the Suns have actually trailed during the playoffs at all. They started off the finals really strong. Like you guys know, I was very confident when I said the Suns are taking home everything. They won games 1 and 2 at home by double digits. But of course, as we've seen, they've now suffered several losses, and it's making me question my prediction for the finals. Jackie, I think, maybe was right all along. For the Suns, Devin Booker has had back-to-back 40-point games in the 2 losses that they've experienced. But Chris Paul has been struggling a little bit after playing super well at the start of the series. And I think that's honestly, it's a little disappointing because, like we've talked about, he is 36 years old. This is, his big shot to win a ring, and it's sad to see him kind of losing that intensity throughout the series as it goes on, especially as the Suns continue to lose. So now they have one last shot to win it tonight and to push it to a Game 7. Jackie, do you think that they're going to be able to do it? What are your thoughts?
I think they have to. I think this is first of all, this is the worst case scenario to be in because that win or go home situation is always just very, very high pressure. But a lot of people thrive in high pressure, and that's what they're going to have to do. I find it interesting because Chris Paul, he had that one really bad game where he had a whole bunch of turnovers. He didn't protect the ball, which is very atypical for him. That's not what we're used to. We're used to seeing Chris go out there and be the point god. That's what we always call him. So it's an interesting dynamic. So I feel like he's going to have to step up more. He's going to have to facilitate more. Like you said, Devin Booker scored 40 points. The whole starting squad was in double digits. It didn't amount to anything, though. So ultimately, and what's interesting, too, is the Bucks had 11 turnovers. The Suns only had 8. So it wasn't like they were turning the ball over more. That just wasn't it. Chris Middleton, Giannis, Drew, all of them scored really, really well. So I think the key is going to be stopping one of them. I don't even want to say the key is going to be stopping Giannis in particular, but you can't let all three of these guys get hot. You just can't do it. One of them's got to have a horrible night, single digits, if you can make that happen. So you're going to have to D up. You're going to have to play better defense. It can't just be all about, okay, we got to outscore them. You guys got to D up. You got to play good defense, and you got to use the support of what you got around you. Everyone's got to play really good basketball. But again, I think this is the worst case scenario for them. This is not how I predicted. I did predict Bucks, but I predicted Bucks in 7. So this winner go home situation was going to happen either way. But technically, for my prediction to come true, the Suns have to win tonight. So it's going to be just interesting. Either way, I did say Bucks are going to take it, though, which is kind of good for Giannis and his legacy and the way he's performing and the way that all of us, Devin, you and I are not the only ones that were like, he's too nonchalant about this. He doesn't have that fight mentality in him. We're all kind of shocked and surprised. So this is a huge turnaround for his legacy. But like you said, Chris Paul is older. And Devin Booker, we've been sleeping on Devin Booker for a while. It's not that Devin Booker all of a sudden became Devin Booker. He's been that. It's just that he was missing that piece of Chris Paul. So this is one of those things where I feel like I'm going to be a little bit sad no matter who wins, because it means somebody lost out on something. But I'm still going Bucks. I'm not even going to, it might be Bucks in 6, but I really think the Suns will pull it out tonight. I really do.
Wow, I'm actually surprised. I mean, I know you want your Bucks in 7 prediction to come true, but I'm surprised that you think the Suns are going to pull it out tonight, because I think that they are sort of feeling a little bit discouraged and a little bit disheartened. Whereas with the Bucks, I feel like when Giannis was out, we saw them really rally together and show what type of team they could be. And then after losing in the first 2 games in the final series, I think the Bucks really kind of felt that. They got that kick in the butt that they needed, and that's why we're seeing Giannis really elevate to this next level. But I'm just wondering at this late point in the series if the Suns are going to be able to come back from losses like this, and if they are going to be able to still feel that, that burning motivation that they've had throughout the entire postseason. I'm not sure. I feel like it really has to be quite discouraging to be in their position right now. Do you agree that the losses might be sort of affecting their mentality and the way they're playing the game?
It better not. They are paid to not get inside their head. They are paid to level up. And this is where champion moments are made. Somebody in the chat said Chris Paul will have 4 series where he lost a 2-0 lead, and that's embarrassing. And that's what the narrative is. That's not the first time I've heard that comment. So Chris Paul needs to go in that locker room, and he needs to be Chris Paul. He needs to be the supporting cast, be the cheerleader, make these guys believe that they can do it. And they should believe that they can do it because they've done it. It wasn't like, I mean, I know people are going to like, oh, it was an easy road. And yes, it was an injury-bound road. But let's not forget, you can rewind to the bubble last season when they won all those games and it didn't amount to nothing. Whatever mentality you had in that bubble to make you win all those games, you need to have that mentality right now. You are not paid to get inside your feelings. This is not the feelings. You know what I mean? You need to step up. You need to level up. It would be really disappointing if they go in there and just believe that, oh, dang, we're down and out and now we can't win. That's not what it is. You need to go watch some of them tapes from Giannis and be like, you can't keep looking over your shoulder. You have to live in this moment. The only thing that they should be telling themselves is we can and we will win this game. That's the only thing that they should be doing. I don't know if you got to sage the locker room, meditate, whatever you need to do, but you need to overcome those negative feelings, because if you have those negative feelings in the locker room, they absolutely will carry over on the court, and then that will be in an embarrassing fashion, because all of a sudden we'll see them do things that they haven't done before. All of a sudden Devin Booker will have like 13 points or something like that, and if that happens, it's because they're in their head. So no, they better not. They better figure out a way, pray, meditate, drink some ginger tea. I don't know, but they better figure it out how to get out of their head if that's what they're doing.
No, what they need is those the water bottles with the Booker juice or whatever. Or maybe we can have somebody fly in those big giant smoothies from Madison Square Garden that we all saw the Nets players drinking. Maybe that's what they need. But I think one thing that you touched on, Jackie, that I feel like is really important is I think this game is a huge opportunity for Chris Paul to shine, not necessarily on the court, although it is that as well, but off the court. Because like you said, he was able to come in and be the veteran leader that the Suns needed. And now at this stage in the game, when they probably, these younger players probably are feeling quite defeated, this is the moment that Chris Paul needs to step up and really be that guy that boosts the team morale. I just hope that he's not getting into his head too much. Do you think that Chris Paul potentially is, or do you think he's still staying laser focused on what's ahead?
I think he has to stay laser focused because, like I said yesterday, there's more basketball behind him than there is in front of him. So you can't wallow in, oh damn, we lost last game. You just can't. The only thing you should be saying to yourself is, they won in our house, we about to win in their house. You know what I mean? And that's it, and that's all. But you have to be laser focused because, especially Chris Paul, this moment might not come for you again. It just might not. So you don't have that space. You don't have the opportunity to go out there and play anxious. You have to, and that's the other thing. You don't want to overthink it so much where you're playing like, oh, we have to win. You can't do that. You have to play good basketball. You have to play with the anticipation of the next game and just be solid in everything you do. You cannot let these three guys, Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew, they scored, 88 points together? If you shut one of them down, this is a different game. So you got to figure out, if you can't D up all three of them, I get it. Giannis is bigger than all of y'all. So maybe he's not the one. So maybe you got to figure out a way to shut down Drew or Chris. But you got to D up. This is going to come down to defense because that's how they lost it last game. When you really look at the stats and the fact that they didn't turn it over anymore, all of their starters were in double digits, but they did nothing to stop Drew, Chris, and Giannis. This is going to come down to defense.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot on the line tonight. This is a big game 6, and I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I'm still hoping the Suns can pull away with the win, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little discouraged. I hate to admit it. But let's move on. Let's talk about another 36-year-old athlete, LeBron James.
Sorry.
Okay, so we know that LeBron's name is always being tossed around in GOAT conversations. You guys know where Jackie and I stand on that, but he's constantly being compared to players like Michael Jordan. We have Kobe Bryant in those conversations. But I always wonder, and I'm sure you've wondered this too, how do the athletes themselves feel about the GOAT debate? Even though I participate in it, I personally feel like it's so pointless because there's no way we can ever truly figure out who the greatest of all time is because there's so many reasons people believe that their pick is the right one. So there's no opportunity to ever crown a winner, which I find very frustrating. I like to have a bit of conclusiveness to this kind of debate, especially because it is so universal and so people get so heated over it. And it's like nobody's ever going to win. It frustrates me. So I personally find it exhausting. And LeBron was asked if he actually finds it exhausting to be part of these conversations and constantly thrown around. So he actually appeared on the Smartless podcast, and he was asked if he was getting tired of all the discussions of who is the greatest player of all time. And he said that it can be exhausting, but ultimately he feels like it's an honor that his name is even being mentioned at the same time as other greats like Michael Jordan. He said, quote, "It can be exhausting. You said it, but I've always looked at like any time you're compared or you're even mentioned with the greats to ever play this game, it becomes humbling for me because the same people they put me in the category with are the same guys that I looked up to for inspiration when I was growing up." He went on to say, "I needed that inspiration growing up in the inner city here in Akron, Ohio. So to have the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, all those unbelievable sports figures when I needed it, they helped me." So it's like, wow, you guys are comparing me to these greatest players that I've ever seen when I was growing up. It's humbling, man. And I think that that's a great way to look at it, to be humbled by the fact that you are sitting at the top of NBA history with some incredible athletes right next to you. I know that there are a lot of people who probably only feel a sense of fierce competition with other greats, but I like that LeBron takes this as an opportunity to find a little bit of humility and just be grateful that he's able to even achieve this status where he's part of these conversations. That being said, he's never been one to like not give credit or accolades where credit is due. He's always been vocal about how great he feels Kobe is and how great he feels Michael Jordan is. So I'm not totally surprised by his perspective on this conversation. But Jackie, let's discuss this. Do you think that LeBron truly looks at these conversations and feels humbled by it? Or do you think that maybe he actually does still feel that sense of like competition or whatever it is? Like, do you think that the main takeaway truly is that he's just humbled by these conversations?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, let's not forget that LeBron was so excited to meet Kobe that he wore shoes that were too small just because Kobe gave them to him. So obviously there's that sense of admiration, because ladies in the chat, which I know there's not many of you, you know how painful it is to wear a shoe for more than 2 seconds that is too small, let alone play a whole damn game in it. That's not what it is. So obviously there's that sense of admiration there. Like he said before, he's been very vocal, especially in his younger years when he was first starting out and he had the weight of that whole entire Cleveland franchise on his shoulder. He was very vocal about, you know, his admiration for guys before him, specifically Kobe, Michael Jordan. I think he even talked about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a couple of times. So things that he's been very vocal about that. I do in my heart of heart believes that he believes that he's the greatest of all time. And I think that that's a legitimate thought process. When you sit back and you look at all the things that he has done, especially in Cleveland, taking that franchise. He did not have star power in Cleveland. I don't know what y'all talking about. He literally carried that franchise on his back to a championship. And then being able to just kind of navigate this league in a way that no one else has really navigated it before, being able to be the catalyst for change in this league and being able to do what he's done off the court. And that's one of the things, I mean, you guys already know who my top 3 is, but you know who's not number 1. My top 3 is LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan. So Jordan's not number 1 for me. And there's a plethora of reasons why Jordan is not number 1. He is just now turning into a decent human being to me. And but he's got a long list of stuff that I shall never forget. So I think that when LeBron sits back and he looks at his legacy, he's cool with it. He has an uncanny ability to just overlook the haters. I feel like I get more upset about his haters than he does. I've never even seen him flinch at the haters. But my mom used to always tell me when I was younger, if nobody's hating on you, she didn't use the word hating, but she said if nobody is something negative, she said nobody's hating on you, basically that means you're not doing anything worthwhile, because it's people who's not doing anything that they just sit around and they kind of just coast through life because nobody gives a damn, because you're not doing anything. You're not better than anybody at anything, so nobody's envious of you. You're not achieving things. You're not pushing the needle. You're not changing the narrative. He has done all of that. So I think he probably is at this, especially now. He's the same as Chris Paul. He has more basketball behind him than he has in front of him. And I think he can sit back right now and look at his legacy and be like, hell yeah, I did that. And he can feel good about it. And now it's about the next journey. LeBron is not that kind of guy that once basketball goes away, that we're still not going to be calling his name until we don't. He's going to be he is a forever legacy. He knows that. And now it's about turning that next page. So I think he probably is exhausted with it because he's got his eyes forward too. Perhaps, 4 or 5 years ago, he was all about that conversation. But now he's like, yeah, I'm in the conversation with these guys. These are guys that I literally, that's got to be a mind trip though. All jokes aside, like to look up to somebody and then be in the conversation with that somebody, that's got to be a mind trip. And that's got to make you feel like, okay, I did that. So I think he is being sincere in that. I think he believes that he's the GOAT, as he should. And I think he's fine with what everybody else says about that, especially Zen Master, because Zen Master got all kinds of issues. I've been to your page, sir. You got so much hate in your heart. Bless your heart. It's cute, though. We appreciate you.
Yeah, there's a lot of hate happening in the chat. I'm trying to ignore it, but just like you, I have a hard time ignoring the haters, especially the LeBron haters, because I do think he's been able to transform the league and also the world in a way. Like, I think that he's been really influential both on and off. Oops, I just muted myself accidentally.
I was like, not Spectrum again. I just knew it was my internet.
I'm so used to doing that when you're talking so that I don't drown out your voice at all that I sometimes accidentally do it when I'm talking. Like, that's so weird. Do you think that there are a lot of young athletes who feel the same way as LeBron, like they're just grateful to be a part of the conversation? I know personally, like if Russell Westbrook was part of that conversation, I can imagine him having this attitude. But what about somebody who's a little bit more cocky, like James Harden? Do you think, or, you know, Kevin Durant even, do you think that they would be able to have that same attitude towards it?
Well, that's going to be a little different because Kevin Durant is only going to be in that conversation with Kevin Durant fans. His legacy is always going to be kind of have an asterisk by it. So if all of a sudden Kevin Durant ends up in this conversation, he's not going to say anything about it because he's going to be super excited. I think Kevin Durant is an amazing player. I think his talents are unparalleled. I think he's fantastic. But it's just his road to where he's at is a little bit different. So he's always going to be, James Harden is the same way. That pouting episode that he did in Houston, regardless of me thinking that he was right to try to get out, I ain't never seen a goat cry, you know, so I don't know.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Very good point. Do you feel like the GOAT conversation has changed a little bit, especially over the last few years, now that LeBron's time in the NBA is wrapping up and we're kind of trying to elect a new person to be part of the GOAT debate? And we talked about Giannis coming into his own as a superstar. There was all the hype around Zion Williamson and how he's going to be the next LeBron James. Are we reaching a point where there simply is not a singular GOAT and that's a title that can belong to several different basketball players at a time?
Well, yeah, I've always said that you've never seen, just when you're talking about real GOATs, you've never just seen one GOAT. It's always a herd of GOATs. There can be more than one GOAT, and that's always a thing. I think specifically when you're talking about like the Jordan era, that's a different conversation because having immense talent across the board on damn near every team, that wasn't a thing back then. You had a couple stars here and there, which is why you had these giant rivalries. It was just a different time. Each year, I feel like the talent goes up just exponentially more. It goes up more and more and more. And then now, especially now that the NBA is so, you know, hell bent on being an international squad, and we're having people, we've got Luka coming from overseas. We've got Giannis, who's from Nigeria, but grew up in Greece. Like now we're getting these talents that we have to really kind of take a step back. That's changing the league. The Euro step. Back in the day, nobody was doing the damn Euro step, but now you got these Europeans in the league, so it's different. Now you have all these people that have all these amazing talents in different ways, that people are very good at different things and they're assets to their teams in different ways. So I think now, yes, we'll always have the GOAT debate, but when I think when you're looking at the league, especially when you're talking about year by year by year, 10 years from now, it's probably going to just be which super team is better. I think everybody's going to have a baby super team in some way. So when you're talking about the talent and how it continually gets better, yes, you'll continue to have that GOAT debate, but it's going to be different. Who's the GOAT in the West? Who's the GOAT in the East? Then we might even break it down by who's the GOAT in the Central? Who, you know what I mean? It's going to be different. So I just think that the talent is continually going up. I personally, if it was me, I get what LeBron is saying. It's a beautiful thing. I would hate to be compared to somebody all the time because I'm working really hard to be me. You know, I'm really working really hard to do my thing, build my legacy. I get the comparison, but I would be over it, especially at 36. Oh yeah, I'm over that. Like I'm LeBron James. So
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, at 36, you don't want to be dealing with like the drama and the arguments online. And LeBron has done a really good job of blocking out the noise in all ways. Just the fact that you showed us that graph a couple weeks ago about how he receives like 122,000 hate messages a day or whatever. And that is so much exorbitantly higher than people like Tom Brady and Bubba Wallace and all that. So he's done a really, really good job of putting the blinders up and just focusing on himself, his family, his passions, and his career. And I think that that's really awesome. So yeah, he probably is very much over the GOAT debate and just tired of having people constantly arguing whether or not his credentials are worthwhile or not. I would get sick. I'm sick of it now. I was sick of it before it even started. I'm just tired of all these conversations. But let's get into the post stuff. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up. So Jackie, take it away.
yes. I'm sorry, stay mad, but you was getting on my nerves, so you in timeout. I'm sure you're used to that though. So let's go into this first post up. Because again, like I said, at some point, especially with Giannis, I have been one of those people that I have definitely said that Giannis needs to make this change or that change. I am very proud to say that I'm very proud of what he's done. But at the same time, I try really hard not to compare guys. I get the comparison, especially when they're big. But these Giannis and LeBron comparisons, I'm kind of over them a little bit. But nonetheless, I do believe in my heart of hearts that Giannis is a fan. And you know how I know this? I'm going to let you watch this. And I love this response to if he saw LeBron courtside for 2 reasons. You guessed the 2 reasons after, but take a look at this.
How it hit you?
Crazy. Yeah. First time he was in the finals was 2007. I wasn't playing basketball. That's crazy to think about. Yeah, obviously, I know the team is LeBron James. He was sitting right across our bench. Well, I didn't have the chance to engage with him, and I wouldn't engage with him. That's something that I don't do. It doesn't really matter who might be my mother sitting. Of course, I see that I don't engage while I'm playing. I just try to focus as much as possible. And but this is crazy. This is a crazy story. This is not a promo. The night before, I was watching Space Jam on HBO. Yeah, so I was watching Space Jam, and there he goes. This is the courtside sitting. But no, I wasn't able to engage with him in any way. Yeah.
So I love that for a couple reasons. Number one, he said, even if my mom is here, I'm not engaging with her during the game. I'm focused. Love that about Giannis. I love that he is all of a sudden hyper-focused because we did not think that even a month ago. Happy about that. Number two, he was a little starstruck about, I was just watching Space Jam, and there he is. I love that. Devin, and before I get to some of the comments on this one, actually, I don't have any. What do you think about Giannis having his a touch of starstruck? Like, there's the guy from Space. Oh, yeah, that's LeBron.
I feel like if any player is going to feel like that, it's totally Giannis. This is such a Giannis move. Oh, I think it's cute. I think that everything Giannis does is he's just an endearing person. I like him so much.
If you are not on Giannis's Instagram and not seen him on his live, especially the other day, he was like, his favorite song is the WAP song, and his girlfriend not being a part of it. He is hilarious. He is just a genuinely fun human being, hard not to like. So yeah, shouts out to him. But let's move on to this next one, because this next one, here's what this post taught me. This is the one that we were going to talk about earlier, and I wanted to see what Devin is going to think about some of these reactions, because I fully expected hate. This is not new information, but obviously they had to make LeBron look his very best for Space Jam, and he looked fantastic in that movie. But you guys know what's happening, so take a look.
And then I don't lean up until I see Wiley starts to. Right. You start maybe even smelling them. Yeah. I smell the fire. All right. Listen.
So if you didn't see, they were doing the little spray or whatever. First of all, even though I did these braids myself, usually when I do go get my hair braided, it's in a barbershop, which I hate. I hate getting my hair done where men are in the salon. But this is a thing. There's 6 chairs across from me, and there usually be 6 people getting some sort of spray like this done. I fully expected, Twitter to get on him for getting his little spray in hair and getting the gray sprayed away and getting that hairline tightened up. But men, once they kind of realize what is ahead, they all of a sudden come together. This first guy says LeBron, KD, CP3 all have bald patches. It happens real quick in your 30s. I'm 40, and the only one of my friends who still has hair still thinning up front. Can't stop the clock. And then this guy says, good athletic genes means bad hair genes. All the people in my family died with long ass hair. All of a sudden, when men are faced with the mortality of their hairline, they become very understanding, which I'm all here for that. I think I got one more. This guy says, not a secret. Good barbers and barbers that cut celebrities actually use this to make an edge up look really clean. And then this last person said, they act like they really discovered something. This has been done for so long. Go check out the men on this, because all of a sudden men were like, hey, no, it's one thing to hate on LeBron, but this is real, people. But male pattern baldness is real. Devin. This is funny to me. It could just be me, but this is the most hysterical thing. Wait. My family got long hair because we suck at athletics. Well, yeah, but my family's balding. It was just all of a sudden, men were like, it's not a bad thing.
I think it is very refreshing that this was the reaction, because I expected the internet to just be fully clowning LeBron for getting his hair painted on or whatever it is. I've never seen this done before, but I also go to a hair salon where it's pretty much exclusively women surrounding me. I don't think I've ever seen a man in there except for the man that does my hair. So I have not seen this done, but I think that it's nice that people were kind of coming out in defense of LeBron for doing this. However, I still stand by a take that I had a while ago, probably a year ago. LeBron needs to embrace the bald. It is time that he accepts it's happening, because, the internet, of course, is going to, I'm sure there are people who are making fun of him online, and he doesn't obviously want to go out and get hair plugs for whatever reason. So I think that it's time he just embraces the bald. He lets it happen.
I think so too, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if KD can let his hair grow, knowing he got full-on continents in the back of his head as far as his bald spot, we need to stop shading LeBron. Just right, I'm gonna say that right now.
That's very true. He does have full-on continents.
I got Canada, I got North America over here, I got Africa over here, Iceland's on the that man does not care. So stop with the shade. They're gonna hang on to their last hair until they can't hang on to it anymore. And I think that is hilarious. But shouts out to y'all for actually supporting, LeBron and getting that tightened up. Devin, I'm gonna have to take you to the beauty salon with me so you can just sit there. You're gonna be in awe, like, oh my God, all these guys are getting this spray. Yes, all of them. So let's move on to the next one. Because like I said before, I think it would be, I get it. At first, when you're young, you'd probably love to be compared to somebody, but then at some point you'd be like, yo, it's me, I'm here, acknowledge me for me. I think anytime you compare somebody to Kobe, it always gets tricky, because all of it, well, I don't want to say all of us, there are a few crazy people in the world, but all of us feel some type of way about Kobe, and it's a lot of love, a lot of admiration there. So I've done it. I've said that Devin has Kobe-esque styles of play, and he does. He really, really does. So I appreciate Jay actually asking this good question about how he feels about these Kobe comparisons. And I really respect Devin and his answer. So take a listen.
How are you feeling about these kind of Kobe comparisons that you're starting to get, where you see the numbers and you see your performances? How do you kind of feel about that?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it much. I know it's something that everybody has going on right now, and, I didn't make that comparison myself. And, I just leave it at what he's done for me as a mentor, and the advice that he's left me with, so I try to take bits and pieces of his mentality and his approach, but, I should never be compared to Kobe Bryant.
And I really respect that. It's not going to happen. I appreciate him saying that he shouldn't be compared to Kobe Bryant, but it's not going to happen because their styles are similar. Not only that, like he said, we know how much of a mentor Kobe was to him, and we all saw how hard he took it. So I don't believe that he doesn't think about it at all. I think he probably just thinks about Kobe in a very loving way, and it's out of respect that he feels this way. So this is a shouts out moment for Devin Booker, because I think he answered that question the exact right way, and he answered it how he felt it in his heart. So I definitely agree with this next user. He says D-Book should be compared to D-Book. And that's true, because Devin Booker's out here doing Devin Booker stuff, and he is really carving his own piece in this NBA. And I think that that's kind of where I feel we should put all players. How are they compared to themselves? Maybe even like 10 years ago, are they compared to who they were then? So I agree with that one. And then, of course, here comes some other users as well, because Devin is just really well liked. He says, very humble dude. With that said, if the Suns win Game 6, ESPN will double down on the Book and Kobe comparisons. I absolutely agree with that, and so does the person on the bottom. Says you're absolutely right. 100%. If he goes out there and win, and if he gets one of those clutch shots at a buzzer beater, trust me, we're going to have some more Kobe comparisons tomorrow. And I agree with this last user as well. He says, I love Booker's demeanor. His competitive spirit does make Kobe smile from the heavens above. There will never be another Black Mamba. Devin will carve out his own niche. And I agree with that. But I still love the respect that we got from Devin on this one. Devin, did you have any thoughts on this one?
My name was being said so many times just now. It's so funny.
Like, unmute, mute, unmute, mute.
It's funny because I have had people in the chat ask if I'm related to Devin Booker, but then also people ask if I'm related to Dwight Howard. Like, yeah, that's my dad. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I think that Devin Booker's response was perfect here. I'm sure that as a young athlete who personally knew Kobe, it probably puts a lot of pressure on him when they say he's the next Kobe Bryant. He's, just like Kobe Bryant. And all that he can take away from his time with Kobe is the lessons that Kobe imparted on him. So I think that he answered it really, really well. And I do think that Devin Booker is just turning out to be such a likable guy in the NBA. And I really like him and I respect him a lot. I'm really impressed with him and I'm excited to see what he does with his career. Yeah,
me too. I think it probably hurts him a little bit though too, to know how much he loved Kobe, and every time somebody's comparing, oh, he's the next, and I'm sure he would be like, no, he would rather just have Kobe here and never hear that compare. If Kobe was here and the comparison was happening, it'd probably be a little different for him. But the fact that Kobe's not here is a big deal. So I definitely respect how he handled that question for sure. Let's move on to this next one, because apparently I am the lone gunman in excitement about this one. I get it. Eli has never been my favorite person, but Peyton Manning always has. Peyton Manning is just the coolest dude. He's always fun, kind of dorky. I love Peyton Manning so much. So I'm excited to see this tweet from ESPN PR. So let me show you this. It says, Monday Night Football Megacast announcement. ESPN and the Walt Disney Co. announced a new partnership with Peyton Manning and Omaha Productions. Headlined by alternate Monday Night Football telecast featured by Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. First of all, I loved hearing Peyton say Omaha, Omaha. So I love that he has his own production company. So for me, I'm like, yes, Peyton Manning. So let me show you what this means. Let me throw up this big full thing. So it says they're going to do 2021, 2022, and 2023 NFL season, 10 games each season. Peyton and Eli from a remote location. Celebrities include iconic current players will join. New Monday Night Football Megacast offering airs on ESPN2. Complements traditional telecasts on ESPN and ABC each week. And it's produced in conjunction with Peyton Manning's company. I was so excited about this. Let me tell you something. I expected the opposite. I expected to scroll through and see fellow people who are excited about this. No, not at all. Not even a little bit. Stop trying to make Eli Manning happen. It's not going to happen. Damn, no. But what about Peyton? This next user he said, no one wants to hear Eli Manning talk about anything at all. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess so. It's all because of Eli. Devin, are you excited in the least, or is it just me? Am I all by myself?
I don't feel as like over the moon as you do, but I certainly don't hate it either. I don't understand the need to be so critical of it, but I mean, I think they're kind of funny. I'm sure it'll be amusing.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton Manning is hilarious, number one, and if he can say or do anything that's going to make his brother do the totally confused look that he always did when he was playing, this is going to be fantastic. I love this. I don't know. I just am going to get some popcorn. I probably won't know what's going on the field because I'll be paying too much attention to this because he's going to make Eli look goofy, and I love that. All right, so let's move on to this one because I told you I was going to give you guys an update. I promise you I have been following this case so closely, and all I know is it's still ongoing right now. There's no definitive answer about this, but a fan gave some direction, so I want you to take a look at this tweet. So we know everything that's going on with Deshaun Watson. The legalities are still happening. And then this guy says, yo, Deshaun Watson, you playing this season? I've had you as my fantasy quarterback since 2017. Like this tweet, if you playing this year, don't want to waste a pick. That's very, very specific instructions, right? So now let's head on over to Deshaun's page, click on his likes, and there you see, when you click on his likes, he liked that tweet. So that's very, very specific to me. There's no gray area on what that could possibly mean. This user is like, well, wait a minute. Doesn't mean what we think it means. He goes, Deshaun Watson liked this tweet today asking if he was playing. So looks like he'll be playing, barring any last minute surprises to the legal situation. But the question is, where will he be playing? Will it be the Texans or does a trade happen? I personally think a trade does not happen. Too much water is under the bridge. They wouldn't get enough for him. So I don't think that that's going to happen. But here's the debate. So let me post this last week. He goes, no, he won't be playing this year. And then this last guy says, he will though, sadly. First of all, stop with the sadly. Second of all, he says, zero way the NFL suspends him. What happens if they suspend him and it comes back that he's not guilty? The NFL will be dragged like a rag doll. So here's the thing. I think when there's undisputable evidence that the NFL should absolutely take immediate action. When it's he said, she said, I think the NFL should let things play out in the legal system before they take action. Because just like that user said, you're going to look like a complete fool if you waste a year of this man's career for nothing. I think the NFL is in a pickle right now because this situation, like it or not, is a he said, she said situation. And so you have to let this one play out. So I do think as well, Deshaun Watson's going to play. We'll have to see, but in my heart of hearts, I think he's going to play. But let's move on to this next one because this is the only person that I actually like from the Giants. Y'all know I can't stand the Giants, but I love me some Saquon Barkley. And in this video, he proves that he's an all-around good guy. He does the whole dad thing, was like kind of plays, but he doesn't. And then the kids cheer for their boy who gets a score. So check it out.
That was quick. That was quick. Down. Set. Pike. Get over. That's what now he's working. Now get back up.
Oh, get up!
Dad was definitely more hyped than the kid, though. Let's just be honest. Dad was completely hyped about that. I think this guy is kidding. Let me show you this one tweet because I was like, let me just throw this up here and see what people say. This is why Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. He wouldn't have got beat off the line like Barkley did. Saquon wasn't even trying, you idiot. 100%. People get way too serious. This user brings up a good point too, because this was my first thought when I saw him. And this user was like, well, his knee doesn't look good. And I was like, yeah, he does look a little thin. So if you guys don't remember, he was battling that ACL injury. He got that ACL tear. I don't remember what week it was. He goes, little man scored on Saquon because he didn't have his massive legs on today. Facts. I'm used to those big old legs, but he has lost some weight because he has that ACL injury. For those of you guys who are Giants fans, bless your heart. The update is, though, he said he doesn't know when he's coming back. He's saying it's a process right now, and he's still trying to get healthy. So good luck with that, Saquon. Still love you. But let's move on to this next one. Because this one, I can't wait to see what Devin thinks about this because I know she loves the kids. And when you can inspire children before they can even talk, that is a beautiful thing. Take a look at this video.
Not my baby thinking Simone Biles is actually smiling at her and she's smiling back.
So cute.
Look at her face like, hey, Simone! Oh, she really thinks Simone is standing there. That is adorable.
That's so cute. I saw this on TikTok the other day and I died because it seems like something my baby nephew would do because he's such a smiley little baby and it's so cute. I love it.
I love it. It's so adorable. I love the responses that this guy, because CBS Sports analyst Amy Trask, she responded to this. Well, first Simone did as well. She says, how precious. My heart, videos like this will never get old. That's got to be so rewarding as an athlete to see kids just like, oh, that's so amazing. I love that the sports analyst, CBS sports analyst Amy responded to this as well. She said, this video is wonderful, but what truly is magnificent is that Simone responded, and she responded in the magnificent way she did. Thank you for sharing this with me, and hi, everyone. But there had to be this one guy, right? So why would a world-class athlete promote salty, sugary snacks? There's always one.
Oh, my God.
There's always one.
You know what? The secret is in his username. His name is Baby Boomer Writer. He's a freaking boomer. That's why.
First of all,
Come on.
It's a cracker.
What kind of cracker was it even?
It's a Ritz cracker. The best cracker to go with chicken noodle soup. How dare you, sir?
Just in general, I love Ritz crackers. When I was traveling through Southeast Asia, they were one of the few vegan things I could find in a pinch. Oh, saved my life. Love them.
so good. How dare you, sir? How dare you? This one, now that's all I got for the post up. I think, yeah, that's all I got for the post up. It is time to get in what we're not going to do, because this one's going to take me a minute. Okay, so let me just say this. If you work in media, let's just have a heart-to-heart, eye-to-eye talk, right? If you work in media, I understand that sometimes stuff triggers us because it just does. But you really need to take a moment, especially if you're going to shade somebody, especially somebody who has said they're going through some sort of mental issues. It takes 2 seconds to Google things. What do I always say? Google is your friend. You can't always trust Google, but you can at least get on the right road. And before you shade somebody, especially when you're somebody in the media, you should at least do your due diligence. A lot of people in the media don't, and it's because they're trolls. And I think that that's embarrassing. I don't think anybody in media should be a troll. And if you are, you should be fired. Especially this journalist I'm gonna get to in a minute, because she has a history of being a horrible person. But anyway, so let's just get into this just off top. So we know everything that's going on with Naomi Osaka. We know that she decided to withdraw from tennis because she's like, nope, I'm going through some mental things. Y'all seem to feel some type of way that I don't want to talk to media about it, so I'm going to withdraw. So this guy, Clay Travis, which I have issues with Clay. I done went to jail, Twitter jail a couple times behind Clay, but he says, since she's saying she's too introverted to talk to the media after tennis matches, Naomi Osaka has launched a reality show, a Barbie, and now is on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. And then here comes Megyn Kelly, who I despise. I would not pee on this woman if she was on fire. She says, let's not forget the cover of and interview in Vogue Japan and Time magazine. Okay, so here's the thing. You're adding to someone's criticism. So let me just stop here for a second. You're adding to someone's criticism as if you don't understand how things work. This would be the equivalent to if LeBron James all of a sudden said, hey, I can't go support Chris, even though he supported me in my first finals appearance. I can't go because I'm having mental issues and I'm just going through kind of a withdrawal and I don't want to talk to people and I know the media is going to be in my face. Him saying that, and then me watching Space Jam over the weekend and being like, oh, but you can be in Space Jam? How dumb would I sound if I said that? We were talking about Space Jam before we even went into the lockdown. We were actually in the studio, the good old days. But that's the equivalent to this. It's very ignorant to think that these things aren't already in the works long time ago. We've just gone through a whole pandemic. Ma'am, do you think that things just happen like that? No, things are still moving quite slowly. So I don't like this at all. So then Naomi responded as she should have. And she responded with the exact thing that I just said. Seeing as you're a journalist, I would have assumed you would take the time to research what the lead times are for magazines. If you did that, you would have found out that I shot all of my covers, including the interviews, last year. Instead, your first reaction is to hop on here and spew negativity. Do better, Megyn. Now, this is where Megyn should have tapped out. Megyn should have been like, ooh, you right. Because me, myself, as a journalist, I have shot things months in advance. I understand that this probably didn't coincide with the same time of you. My bad. That should have been the next week, but no, it wasn't. So I am so glad, because I was about to drag this woman to high heaven, because I don't know if you guys know who Megyn Kelly is. Megyn Kelly is a woman who is still employed, even though she was in blackface. And I'm very proud of this user for pointing that out. It says, but again, Megyn Kelly also thought that dressing in blackface was no big deal and wholly appropriate. People seem to have no clue that money and success and fame don't always equate to happiness and mental health. Seems she loves to negate the mental health in Black women. So y'all do some research. Like I said, Google is your friend. Megyn Kelly is a horrible person. There's no good in this woman. I don't care what anybody says. She should not have a job. A lot of people have told me they've met her in person and everything that she does to get all these rise out of people is an act. That's not who she really is. That makes her even worse to me. If you're doing out here doing all these disparaging comments for no reason, attacking people who have already expressed they're having mental issues, that makes her even worse to me. She's a horrible, horrible person. So Naomi did exactly what somebody who says they are having mental health issues would do. She blocked Megyn. Well done, Naomi. I'm very, very proud of you. Don't let nobody steal your energy. And then here comes this troll again. She goes, oh, poor Naomi Osaka blocked me while taking a shot at me. Guess she's only tough on the court. She is apparently arguing that she shot her mini covers before publicly claiming she was too socially anxious to deal with press. Truth is, she just doesn't like questions she can't control. Admit it. First of all, as an athlete, next question or I'm just here so I won't get fined are real phrases. So if she doesn't want to answer you, she doesn't have to. You're missing the point of some of these questions are affecting her. She's very honest about that. She was very open about that. You don't get to just say, I get to ask you whatever. First of all, nobody owes you anything. If that's the lesson for today, nobody in this world owes you anything, including an answer to your little funky questions. Don't owe you that. If I'm required to show up, I have to show up, but I don't owe you a damn thing after that. I can show up and I can pull my beast mode and say, I'm not here. I'm just here so I don't want to get fined because I don't want to get fined. I can do a Devin Booker and Chris Paul and say, next question. I can do that. I don't owe you anything. This entitlement that people feel, you are not entitled to my energy. If my energy is not right and I feel like I need to preserve my energy, I have every right to do that. You are not entitled to that just because you think you somebody. You're not nobody to me. No, you guys are wrong for this. And then this guy, I forgot this guy even had a job. Do y'all? I ain't seen Piers Morgan on TV in so long. Maybe it's just because I blocked him from my world, but he apparently said something disparaging. And Naomi blocked him as well. He goes, yep, and she blocked me too. The only media Miss Osaka wants to tolerate are psychopathic magazine editors telling her how perfect she is. You know how stupid you look right now, as opposed to what? You telling her that she's not really having mental issues and she better answer. Oh my God, the entitlement from these two individuals is grotesque. I got one more comment, and I have not seen this documentary, but I'm glad that one person got it. He says, dude, watch her documentary on Netflix. You think she grew up wanting to do half this stuff? All she wanted was to earn money for her family and be a champion. Give her a break and some respect. The people lashed out at this person and said, nope, she's making all this money. So this is what we're not going to do. Outside of being a stupid journalist, if you in journalism, this is what you're not going to do. You're not going to grow up and be Megyn Kelly. You're not going to do that. You're going to be a better journalist who has some integrity and can search things and do research. That's part of your job. Do better. That's number one. Number two, we're not going to think that money, especially when we see time after time, people with money and fame commit suicide or become addicted to drugs. Money does not absolve you from anything. Nothing. Not crime, not sadness, not mental issues. So what we're not going to do is just assume because they got money that they're somehow free of everything negative in the world, especially when you bring in the negativity. I am done with stupid journalists. So can stupid journalists just go away, please? And thank you. It'd be greatly appreciated. From your friend, Jackie Ray, here on The Fumble. Devin, what did you think about the way Megyn came for her?
I always find it funny when the ultra right-wing conservative media personalities and journalists attack, more left-leaning people for having mental health issues. But at the same time, they'll be, staunch supporters of the Karen having a complete and total meltdown in a Victoria's Secret. Like, we're talking about mental health and behavioral issues. You're going to criticize Naomi for taking a step back from press and missing that tournament because she just needed to focus on herself. But you'll sit there and appreciate or support or not even say anything about the person literally throwing a fit for no reason in a public setting. It makes no sense at all. And I also don't understand why these journalists feel so threatened by somebody like Naomi. She's 23 years old. She's a young girl. She's able to, make these decisions for herself. And not to mention, if these magazine covers did happen to be shot after she withdrew from the tournament, I feel like I don't know, maybe I just understand it a little bit more because I tend to be very introverted and people are always like, how do you do the job that you have when you're an introvert? And for me, talking to a camera in a setting like this is totally fine. Showing up alone to a party filled with 100 people is a completely different situation. Maybe Naomi is in the same boat. Maybe she can handle being around, 3 photographers and a makeup entourage, but talking and answering questions to a bunch of people feels overwhelming. I get that. I understand that 1,000%. I would never criticize her for being able to go to a photo shoot, but not to a press interview. I don't know. I feel like the hate that she gets is so undeserved. She's so talented and she's so well spoken. The way she handles things, I think, is spot on. And these older conservative news personalities just look like bullies. They just need to stop.
And it's funny to me because when Naomi was very vocal and she showed up with the Black Lives Matter mask and the Breonna Taylor and the say their names, this whole side, Megan was one of them, was like, oh, she should just play tennis. She shouldn't talk about these things. So now she's not talking, and now it's a problem. Make up your damn mind. Like, make up your mind.
I know. It seriously makes no sense. They just want something to talk about. I believe it when your friend said that Megyn Kelly says a lot of this just to inflame audiences, and I think that's terrible. I mean, clickbaiting is one thing, maybe sensationalizing like a silly story is another thing, but to turn a person who is admittedly struggling with their mental health and make them a spectacle for no reason at all is just cruel. It's cruel. Human decency we should be better than that. But on that note, let's wrap up the show for today, you guys. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you tune in, subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, give it a thumbs up, let us know what you think about all of our stories in the comment section below. Have a great Taco Tuesday. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.